I get a written warning for everyone. All right, we're live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in around the country on our live stream. Maybe you have some friends who are tuning in from their homes. Maybe they're in bed already watching. This is the luxury of technology. You're at our head office, DuePoint's head office. We're actually a division of another company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia is a registered insurance company that's been around for a very long time, nearly 7 decades. They were founded in 1952. They're based down the road from us in Randburg. You can see their offices, very stately looking offices, the little orange logo. You might recognize the logo, you might not. They actually underwrite a lot of life insurance for a lot of other FSPs. They're one of the few registered insurance companies in the country. The FSP number that we operate under is that one over there, very important. We obviously abide by all the FSP regulation. You'll notice in the foyer above the water cooler, we've got all these certificates up on the wall. That's our FSP licenses, or our licensing. We've got our FSP license, we've got a long and short-term insurance license, we've got an investment license, and then we also got our accreditation at the Direct Marketing and Direct Selling Associations. So we take credibility very important, or very seriously, should I say, here at DuePoint. We're actually owned by another company, or another group of companies called Conduit Capital, which is listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. So it's very important for our audience, for at least our guests and our wealth engineers, to start building some trust in the business that we're going to be proposing this evening, because that's obviously fundamental to starting or looking at any partnership, is that you trust the business that you're going to be potentially partnering with. This is the management and the executive team, very experienced, all with very diverse experience from various sectors. The 3 characters on the far left are all registered chartered accountants in South Africa. They're very fancy. We've got Brendan, our senior executive, who's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his family have been entrenched in insurance his entire life. His father actually founded Clientele Life a number of decades ago. And Brendan and his brother grew up in this house where they only knew insurance, and they probably only got insurance policies as birthday presents and Christmas presents as little kids. But Brendan and his brother Stuart also went on to found Prime Meridian Direct, PMD, which is a very successful short-term insurer based just down the road from us. So we're very lucky to have him heading up the division. Tim Reynolds is very experienced in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about a decade and a half, a fairly senior position there where he reported directly to the Board of Executives. And he heads up our regulatory, our auditing, and the financial aspects here at DuePoint. Stacey supports him in that role. And she's got a lot of experience in auditing, or should I say only auditing, because she worked with Deloitte for about half a decade, actually maybe a decade now, where she worked locally as well as overseas before she came back to South Africa and joined the team here. And then we have our 2 non-accountants. Jane is from the UK. She's been in South Africa for about 10 years, made South Africa her home. She brings a lot of international experience with regards to direct selling to our business, because even though we're an insurance company, our growth is predicated on network or referral marketing or direct selling, or however you want to term it. And Jane brings all of that experience to the business. And then myself, I've got predominantly marketing and advertising experience. I've worked in that field almost since I left school. By trade, I'm a designer or a creative director. I did do a short stint at Wits to try to do some engineering, but it was far too much work. Jeez, I got there at 8:30 in the morning. The class is only finished at 5 o'clock. I thought, no, go back to work. At least I earn some money when I'm working from 8 to 5. So I dropped out of engineering, carried on in the design and advertising field, started a digital agency in the late 90s, ran that for about 20 years, fairly successfully, before I exited that business and joined the team here at DuePoint. Our mandate here is to support everyone that partners with us, because as a division, we can only be successful if the people that join us in this partnership are being effective and successful. And so we do everything possibly that we can do to support you in those efforts. And I'll touch on that support a little bit later on in the presentation. But know, when you're looking at this partnership, that you're going to be collaborating with this business that you're getting involved with. We want to see you successful in this endeavor. Okay. All right, so let's get on to the negative part of the presentation, the bad news. We typically discuss some of the driving factors of why people would be interested in an entrepreneurial opportunity. because it's Monday evening, it's a little chilly. There are better things to be doing on a Monday evening than coming to business presentations, right? Because you've all probably spent 8 hours of work already. Then you had to get through Joburg traffic. All these people that live in Fourways, they clog up my road here next to my office, main road to William Nicol. I curse the Fourways people all the time. But you made it out to this office in Bryanston. And why did you do that? Like I said, much more better things to do on a Monday evening. And that's why we look at driving behavior, because the driving behavior, why people would be interested in entrepreneurial opportunities, is very important. And it really is the starting point for you to look at this business opportunity this evening. So one of the things we look at is the economy, and I'm not going to go on about the economy too much. It's in a dismal state. Our economy is shrinking at the moment. We're in a recession. We've been in a recession for the last 6 months when we so desperately need to be creating jobs. We've got about 9 million unemployed people sitting at home doing nothing, doing absolutely nothing. That has to just kill your psyche, right? Being willing to work, and there's just no hope on the horizon because we're in a recession. We have fewer jobs 6 months later than we did 6 months ago. So there's no solution on the horizon there. And then we look at this aspect called debt. Now, debt is something we have control over. The economy is something we don't have control over. So that can be very frustrating. And we're really at the mercy of what the economy is doing. And it's not only a local issue, it's a global issue, the economy. But debt is something we certainly have control over. No one forces debt upon us. We willingly take up debt. And I know that everyone here this evening has probably got debt in their lives, and we love it very much because you have so much of it. And we'll probably take on more of it, right? So it's appropriately a very four-letter word, this word debt, and it's afforded to us at a fairly early age, and we'll start engaging in all kinds of debt instruments pretty much the moment you start earning a salary. You'll engage in things like bigger things like home loans and car loans, credit cards or something fairly easy to access. We can buy anything on hire purchase nowadays. Educational loans, personal loans. There are so many different shapes and sizes of debt instruments, and South Africans will engage in them on a regular basis. Unfortunately, too much, because as a society, we often criticize that we take on too much debt. And on a macro level, South Africans only start looking at investment products on average when we're around the age of 50. 50 years of age, and you start looking at investments, you are about 30 years too late. Okay, and we'll look at that a little more closely. So we get a lot of statistics from the FSB that really paints this picture of what South Africa's personal finance situation looks like, and it's generally not a very pretty picture to look at. And you'll see that debt is actually quite a crippling aspect with regards to your personal finance. So I'm about to have a second kid next week, right? Another financial burden. Don't clap, it's a financial burden that I'm taking upon. You should feel sorry for me, right? When you start out in life, I think you don't realize what debt actually does to you from a personal finance point of view. Because you'll start earning a salary, you don't really have any accountability in your life, you're enjoying being out of school, having a little bit of freedom, you start getting a job, you're earning money for the first time, and you might buy a car, you might get credit cards, you might get a clothing account, a food account, you're paying for food you bought last year at Woolworths. But in the economy that we're in, what happens is we get lulled into this false sense of security, right? So you'll take out a certain amount of debt, and you'll think it's perfectly acceptable because everyone else is doing it. And the average South African will spend half his salary repaying debt, right? So 50% of the average South African salary immediately towards debt repayments. The other half is left for the cost of living. But when we're in an economy where we have inflation sitting at 7%, when we've got food inflation sitting at 11%, when we've got interest rates as high as they are, then what happens is that debt becomes more expensive to maintain. So now we're not spending 50% on debt anymore, suddenly we're spending 55% on debt. Did your salary go, it's always one, did your salary go up every year for the last 5 years in line with inflation? Just throw it against the wall, it usually goes quiet. So if we look at our salary is typically a good indicator of what the economy is like. So who got a 8% increase in their salary for the last 5 years running? Every year your boss said, no problem, I'll give you 5, 6, 7, 10% increase in your salary, in line with inflation. If you didn't get that, your salary has devalued, right? So I had lunch with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and they hadn't gotten an increase in their salary for 3 years. Their salary has devalued by about 20% because of that. Because food is doubling every 7 years, right? Debt is becoming more expensive to maintain, and what happens for people, for the person at home, is that you start to feel the squeeze every month. And we'll know it. We're all in the same boat. You can feel the squeeze more and more every single month, right? And so we fall into this debt cycle, and I call it a debt cycle because you keep taking on more debt to close the gap between what your salary is giving you and what the cost of living is. Currently, 50% of South Africans that have debt in their lives are under debt review at the moment, which means half the population that has debt has missed debt repayments for more than 3 months in a row. That's pretty much saying, I can't afford my cost of living anymore, right? And you're defaulting on debt for 3 months or longer. Unfortunately, we've got this third thing that comes up. So we've spoken about the economy, we've spoken about the reality of debt. There's retirement. So I'm looking at everyone, it doesn't look like anyone's reached retirement yet. So this is all something, we all have something to look forward to. So this was an article published on the Fin24 website late last year, and it shows you what responsible retirement planning looks like. So if you go see a financial advisor, this is typically what they're going to show you, right? They're going to say to you, well, when you get to retirement, the plan is to have a certain investment in place by the time you get to retirement. And that investment will then pay you out an income because you're not getting a salary at work anymore, right? You're retired. There's no more job, there's no more income. You have to depend on this investment to pay out this amount of money for you. So let's look at there are 3 columns here. Let's look at the first column. The first column says if you're in the position where you've saved R1 million, right? You've got R1 million cash investment sitting somewhere. The R1 million cash investment will pay you out 5,000 Rand a month. Sound good? Anyone happy with 5,000 Rand a month? Not even close. Not even close. 5,000 Rand does not get you anywhere. Anywhere. But now my second question is, this is my trick question, how many of us are actively saving towards R1 million at the moment? You sit with your financial advisor and go, yeah, I'm planning to get to R1 million invested by the time I retire. No one's doing that. So in reality, what's going to happen for the majority of us is we're going to get to retirement. We might have saved, let's say, 800,000 Rand. We'll only be getting a 4,000 Rand income every month when you retire. In an environment where we've got 9 million people unemployed, you think you're just going to go find another job? Odds are you're not. The workspace has become so competitive at the moment that you can see it's become lucrative to start schools, right? We all thought churches were lucrative. Now you can invest in education. Education is very lucrative at the moment. A lot of my peers, a lot of these people are going out and doing MBAs at the moment. MBA costs you 250,000 Rand to go study because the job market has become so competitive, people are trying to make sure that they're not going to be unemployed. And you'll see parents, right? Most of us are parents, panicking about what schools they're going to get their children into because the workplace is so competitive. So out of all of this negativity, because this is not the proposed solution, right? I'd like to see you be in a position where you can start engaging in responsible investments, right? And that brings us to DuePoint. So out of all of that negativity, we saw an opportunity as a business to create a platform for the average South African to engage in that'll assist you to break out of this debt cycle. Our number one goal here at DuePoint is to see the people in this business become debt-free. It should be your number one goal in your life, at least at this stage. Get rid of your debt as quickly as possible. But we don't have the luxury of thinking that way because we're in a debt cycle and we're worrying about the end of the month. How many of us are thinking, oh, you know, I've got the extra 5,000 Rand at the end of the month. What should I do with it? Should I pay my debt off a little faster? Should I invest it? No, we're all thinking, 10 debit orders have just gone off my account the day I got my salary. I don't know if I'm going to have money at the end of the month. That's what you're worrying about, right? And then you go to buy groceries and you realize, Oros, mealie meal, vegetables, meat, everything's gone up in price. And you're thinking, what am I going to do? And then you hope that your employer is going to give you a 10% raise at the end of the financial year. And what does the employer say? It's been a tough year. Companies are all struggling. No raises for anyone. And this is what's happening in South Africa at the moment. So our number one goal for you is to be in a position where you're able to go, I've got extra money, let me pay my debt off faster. That's the position we want to find you in. The second aspiration is to see you then become debt-free and start investing that extra money into investment instruments. Something you can look forward to when you get to retirement. And then the third aspiration happens all on its own. The little balloon over there, icon, is to see everyone in this business happier. That's the ultimate goal. That's why you're here this evening. You had some hope that you would hear about something this evening that can change your circumstance for you. Well, I'm going to show you something that can change your circumstance. It's going to be your decision at the end of the presentation as to whether you want to put in the work to take advantage of this opportunity. So how does this work? Our guests, you have the opportunity to join DuePoint. You actually contract with us. And when you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers, an appropriate title. And as wealth engineers, we only want you to do one thing, and that is to go up and grow, build what we call channels of distribution. Right? These channels of distribution, you become very familiar with them, and I'll show you what one of them look like. But through these channels of distribution, you're typically going to be introducing people to DuePoint. And through our online platform, we'll attempt to place product with those people that you introduce to us. And that is basically how this entire business works from your perspective. As simple as that. The benefit for you is obviously to create additional income stream for yourself. Right? If you really want to meet that first aspiration of becoming debt-free, it has to be through an additional income stream. The nature of our income that we produce here is one that is recurring in nature. Now, this is an awesome benefit. This is the reason why I left my business. The company that I ran for nearly 25 years, we couldn't create recurring income stream, which meant that at the end of every month, we started at zero. So on the first of every month, we'd have to go look for the business, do sales and marketing and advertising, bring the business in, do all the work, invoice it, and 30 days later, start again. Did that for 17 years. This business allows you to create recurring income. The effort that you put into building these channels of distribution in August 2017 doesn't pay you once-off income. It'll pay you a recurring income into September, into October, into November, a year down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line for August 2017's effort. Because you've built an asset in this business. And the asset is what pays you every month, not your effort. Right? It's a bit of a mind shift because we're all in employment. We know I work 40 hours a week, I get paid. That's how it works. But when you build an asset, the asset pays you every month. And you don't necessarily have to put time into the asset all the time. I'd love to see our wealth engineers in a position where in 5 years' time they built a sustainable enough business that you can go on holiday for 6 months and you get paid every single month while you're sitting on the beach. Think about that. That's what happens when people create wealth. That's the option that they build for themselves. Right? You get to harness the power of duplication here. What is the power of duplication? It is leverage. Right? Again, it speaks to about recurring income. But the leverage here is you being able to go out and build these channels of distribution. What's actually happening is you're bringing people into your business that are going to collaborate with you. So if you've got limited time in this business, if you only have an hour a day for this business, but you bring 10 people in to collaborate with you, now you've got 10 times 1 hour each, 10, 11 hours being invested into your asset that's going to pay you out a greater recurring income. This business is flexi time. But don't make the mistake of thinking that you're going to be successful in this business if you're only doing it when you've got spare time. It'll never work. By the end of this presentation this evening, on a Monday night, you're going to have to decide how DuePoint fits into your life if you really want to take advantage of this opportunity. What does it look like for you? Is it Monday evenings? Is it Saturdays? Is it Sundays? Is it every night of the week? That is a decision you make. I don't help you with that decision whatsoever. And I don't hold you accountable to that decision either. That's a decision you've got to hold yourself accountable to. And that's often where we make the mistake. There's no startup capital, there's no registration fees, there's no boxes of products that you have to buy to get involved in this business. So we make this business completely risk-free. Completely risk-free to make it more accessible to the average South African. There's no qualifications or experience required. We work in financial services. We have to abide by all the regulation the FSB sets out for us. But you guys don't have to worry about that. You can still enjoy the benefits of being involved in financial services without that obligation. You get to build an asset. Now, this is a very important point. Probably the most important point. And I've spoken about it before briefly. You get to build an asset in this business that you have ownership over. Think about your employment. Does anyone have ownership in the business they're working for? Anyone get profit share? Anyone get a dividend check? Anyone get to enjoy the upside when the business does well? That's probably no, 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 and no. But why would we spend 45 years working for somebody else, building someone else's asset? Because we have to, right? Salaries are there to pay your bills and nothing else. You are sitting in a presentation this evening where we're talking about building an asset that leads to wealth. Not to pay your bills. This is not an opportunity to pay your bills. This is an opportunity to build an asset that will make you wealthy. Wealthy is about having time freedom, financial freedom, having choices. This is the opportunity this evening. There's no selling involved. This is a good one because everyone that came here for the first time thought, what are we selling? That's the first question you asked the person that invited you here. They said, I've got a great business opportunity for you. And you said, what are we selling at that place? And you walked in, you looked for the products, didn't see any vitamins on the tables, no boxes, no energy drinks, right? We're a financial services business. We don't have products. So we don't have the issue around stock and distribution. The products don't take up space in your car, your boot, or your garage at home. There's no expiry date on our products, right? So we do. We make this business as convenient to get involved with as possible. That's the only easy part in the business, is getting involved with DuePoint. But this is all through, or your success at least, is predicated through your success, or on your success in building these channels of distribution. So what does a channel of distribution look like? It begins with you. You make the decision to join DuePoint. You take out one of our products, and you go and tell other people about the opportunity. And if you're successful in that, and you've got other people that come to a presentation like you, look at the products, take out a product, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution. Those 5 people that you introduce to the business will go out and do the same thing. They desire the same thing in life as you do. They also want to understand what wealth is all about. And so you have this organic growth that can take place in your business, your asset, your channel of distribution. And this will pay you out a recurring income every single month. And the recurring income that you get every month will increase every time a new person joins your channel of distribution. You don't know anyone beyond this point. This is the power of duplication. This is leverage because you only spend time bringing 5 effective people into your business. They did the rest. Right? This is how companies work. It's not dissimilar. You go look at any organization, whether it's government, the army, a business. There's the CEO at the top, a board of executives, senior management, workers. Right? This is very similar. Your channel of distribution is headed by the person in the middle. That's you. You, the CEO, you're accountable for your business. You have to do the work, but you don't have to do it on your own. You get to build an asset collaborating with all these people that you bring into your business. Right? So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. This is our disclaimer slide. We compare it to the ballerina's legs. Right? See the professional dancer? We look at business like this. We see the pretty leg. You see someone who's running their own company. Got a nice car, married to a nice spouse, the dog is even good looking. And you think, they're so lucky. They're so lucky running their own business. It must be easy. Anyone tried to start their own business from scratch? Do you know that 95% of businesses fail in the first year? The odds are against you. This is not dissimilar, right? It requires a lot of persistence, consistency, and a long-term vision to be successful in this business. This is not one of these get-rich-quick schemes. It isn't. Get-rich-quick schemes shows how desperate we are as a society, where people will invest into nothing, hoping that they'll get a 25% return in a week. That's a get-rich-quick scheme, right? This is not one of these. This is a 70-year-old insurance company that's listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. We're not one of those. We will never promise you success in this business quickly. It doesn't exist in any sphere of life, right? If someone came to you and said, oh, this business is very easy, just give me 10,000 rand, I'll show you how quickly we make money. They're lying to you. Anyone say to you, get married, it's very easy to be successful in marriage. They're lying to you, right? Anything, it doesn't matter what it is. To be successful in anything, you've got to be persistent. You've got to get through the frustration, the short-term frustration. It's easy to give up in the short term. So in this business, if you're interested in this opportunity, I want you to have a long-term vision, a big goal, a huge goal, something that you don't even think is realistic. That's what you aim for. That's what motivates you to get out of bed and think about DuePoint before you think about your employment every morning. Because that's where you're going to build your wealth, your asset, your success. No get-rich-quick schemes. Brennan jokes. He says, everyone's worried that this is a get-rich-quick scheme when they got invited here. But in the back of your head, you're hoping it's one of those because you do actually want to get rich quickly. Right? It's true, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about the money. So we pay our wealth engineer something called a return at the end of every month, right, based on how many products you have in your channel of distribution. So we pay a base return fee of 27.50 Rand for every product that you have in your channel. Remember the first 5 people you introduced to DuePoint successfully? They lie on your first point. They are 1 point away from you, and on your first point, we pay you double the 27.50 Rand. On your second point, we pay you double the 27.50 Rand again. We're paying you 55 Rand for every product on your first and second point. Not once off, recurring. Every month, you get the 55 Rand for all the products on first and second point. And then the multiplier starts to drop as the product gets further away from you. So to the third point, the fourth point, all the way down to the 8th point, the multiplier drops to 4%. But what's important to note is that from the 8th point to infinity, so you can grow your channel to the 100th point. From the 8th point to the 100th point, we will keep paying you 4% of the 27.50 Rand and beyond. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get at DuePoint. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. The accountability always lies with you. So this is the mechanics of the returns, okay? The next question we get is, well, how much money can you earn in this business after a certain amount of time? Give me an idea. So what we did was we built this path to success. It's a little formula based on growth called 3 + 2. It assumes that a new wealth engineer in this business can bring 3 people into the business in the first month. And then every consecutive month, you just bring in another 2. So in August, you're going to find 3 people to join the business. In September, you find 2. In October, you find another 2. November, another 2. Into perpetuity, you keep finding 2. It's 1 every 2 weeks. It doesn't sound too onerous, does it? If you can do that, you can expect to be earning about 2,500 Rand after 6 months of work here. Not a lot? No one's ever left at this point. Is it? Is 2,500 Rand a lot of money after 6 months of work, or is it not enough? Exactly. That's true, and it's recurring income. Because the following month, you'll get 2,500 Rand again. Right? But let me give you some more context around 2,500 Rand, especially when it comes to debt. I love one of Einstein's quotations. He said, the 8th wonder of the world is the compounding effect. Banks cottoned onto this very quickly and created this thing called compound interest. You're either on the good side of compound interest or you're on the bad side of compound interest. You either have an asset or investments or you have debt, right? We want our wealth engineers to be on the good side of compound interest. So let's take a look at this example. At 6 months, here's an example of someone with a 1 million Rand bond. Million Rand bond. They're going to be paying for this house for the next 20 years. Probably 11,500 Rand a month to the bank for the next 20 years. If I'm 40, I'm going to finally have paid my house off when I'm 60. At retirement, finish up paying the house off. That's a good thing, right? But if I join DuePoint and with some success 6 months later, I'm earning 2,500 Rand and I take that 2,500 Rand and I put it into my bond as an additional payment, what happens? That little 2,500 Rand. I'm going to nearly halve the term of the bond. I don't pay the house off for 20 years. Now I finish paying the house off when I'm 51. Do you know how much money that saves you in repayments to the bank? It saves you R1 million. R1 million on a R1 million bond. That just blows my mind. Doesn't it blow your mind? 2,500 rand is going to save you R1 million. On the retirement slide, you were thinking, yo, there's no ways I'm going to save R1 million by the time I get to retirement. 2,500 rand can do that if you look at it from a different point of view, right? Because we all have debt in our lives. Are you financing banks or are you financing your wealth? This is the question. After 12 months, you're on over 100,000 rand in recurring income annually. 12 months. 24 months. Close to 30,000 rand a month. That's 360,000 rand a year that you've created for yourself over and above your employment. That gives you options, right? That's big money that we're talking about. After 36 months, about 50,000 rand a month. At the 30-month mark, there's an example of a 5 million rand bond. You can pay a 5 million rand bond off faster if you put this 37,000 rand as an additional payment into that bond payment. You'll pay that 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. So I'm 40. At 47, I pay my first house off, buy a second house. At 54, I pay the second house off, I buy a third house. At 61, I've paid off 3 houses to the value of 5 million rand each. Renting out 2 of them for 60, 70,000 rand a month. Do you see the difference in creating an asset for yourself? This business gives you the opportunity to look at building assets. Employment doesn't do that for us in this economy. It pays our bills and nothing more. If I did nothing more, I'd buy the 5 million rand house and pay it off by the time I get to 60. At retirement, I've just finished paying off my house. I'm finally, for the first time in my life, a homeowner that's got no salary coming in at the end of the month because I've been retired, but I've got a 5 million rand house that I'm living in. Now what do? Who's paying for the water and lights? 98% of the population is faced with that same issue. You get to retirement realizing that you don't have enough money saved. And so we sell the house, move in with family, become a burden to our kids. We have to downgrade our lifestyles dramatically. This is what's waiting for us. 98% of our population is faced with that truth. At 48 months, you're close to 70,000 rand a month. And after 1 year, 5 years, 60 months, you've created for yourself in excess of R1 million in recurring income in your flexi-time job. At what point are you able to resign from your day job? Do you want to resign from your day job if you're earning 100,000 rand a month from your flexi-time job? When can you tell your boss what you think about him? Right? We talk about options. These are options. In a work environment that we're stuck in, you don't have the luxury of telling your boss what you think about him because you're too terrified of losing your job. You're too terrified about being marginalized at work. Business is about creating options, but this is all academic because this is purely based on an example called 3+2 that expects you to put one person in every 2 weeks. You can do less than that. You can do one person a month. You can do 0 people a month. I tease them. I call them the 0+0 club. Right? You get excited about the presentation, but you don't put in the time and the effort. You get frustrated too early and you give up at month 2, month 3. You say, oh, that business didn't work. Just another thing that hasn't worked. Blame the system, blame your spouse. But it is academic, so it's purely an example. So you can do less than that, you can do more than 3+2. We love to showcase our wealth engineers that do more than 3+2 because they surprise us, right? And they serve as great examples to the rest of us of what can be done. So here we have Jack. He's from Witbank. He's got a huge business in Mpumalanga. He joined at the end of January. 5 months later, he's earning 7,000 rand a month. His income went up every single month. How much money did you have to have sitting in a cash investment to earn 5,000 Rand a month when you retire? How much money did you have to have saved? Think about the retirement slide we discussed. You had to have R1 million, right? That you saved. Over 45 years, you saved R1 million. Jack created that in 4 months. In 4 months, he created for himself what could be equated to R1 million investment. This is the beauty of recurring income. It behaves like an asset that pays you out. Here's Engelbert from KZN. After a year, he joined at the beginning of last year. So he's tracking 3 plus 2 fairly closely, right? 3 plus 2 said you'd get to about 9,000 Rand after 12 months. All these testimonies are available for you to watch on YouTube. Go listen to their stories. Nkanyezi joined at the end of March. April, May, 2 months she was at 2,500 Rand a month. In another 2 months, doubled that. No, that's in 1 month. From May to June, she doubled her income. In employment, we go home and brag to the wife that we got an 8% increase over a year. Right? You're happy with that because you know your salary hasn't devalued against deflation. Here you have the opportunity to double your income in a single month. June to July, tripled her income. Where is that possible? Someone accused me and say, oh no, these are actors you put up on the screen. They're not real people. Anyone seen any of these people in Generations? Nkanyezi look familiar? These are normal people. They are not special people. These aren't people with degrees in human psychology or human behavior. They're normal people. We've got wealth engineers. Some have matric, some don't have matric. Some have got corporate experience. Others don't have corporate experience. Some are housewives. Some aren't. Some run their own businesses, some don't. All have shown success on the same platform. It requires sacrifice of time, and that's it. And long-term vision so that you don't give up when you get frustrated. This is a people business. We get frustrated with each other constantly, right? People will let you down all the time. You have to go beyond that. You have to push through that pain to see success. We've got hundreds of wealth engineers that we pay every single month that have created income for themselves. You might be happy with just 2,500 Rand a month. Maybe you're even happy with 1,000 Rand a month. Some will only be happy at 100,000 Rand a month. But the decision lies with each one of us. It is not dictated to us by the economy, not by our debt levels. It's not dictated to us by our spouses. It's not dictated to us by our bosses. We have to make the decision on our own. That's the beauty of this business, right? Accountability. It actually calls for leadership in this business. So that's the returns. That's what we pay the wealth engineers every month. So that's the one way to benefit out of this business. The second way to benefit out of this business is through our XP Rewards program. So the XP Rewards program rewards you as you have success at DuePoint. So if you join this evening, you will start out as a rank 0 wealth engineer, right? You're still part of the 0+0 club, but very quickly you can get to rank 1 because you only need 1,000 XP, and you get XP when you come to presentations, bring guests, watch training, when you do all these things wealth engineers do. And you only need 4 products in your qualified channel. When you meet those 2 criteria, you get to rank 1, and we'll be paying you a return at the end of the month. But in the XP Rewards program, we give you an extra 55 Rand. To say, well done, go for rank 2. And as you start to rank up in this business, the rewards get bigger and better. 15, 20,000, 50,000 Rand. We give our wealth engineers tools that help them be more effective in this business. We want to see you more effective. At rank 5, we give you this lightning memory stick that plugs into anything. That little stick plugs into cell phones, into tablets, into laptops, TVs, computers. Whether you've got Android or Apple or Banana, you can plug it into all of it, right? Why is that so important? Because for Patrick and Pumi, they can show the DuePoint business to anybody regardless of what device is around them. At rank 7, we get business cards manufactured for our wealth engineers. They cost us for a single set, cost us in excess of 20,000 Rand. But we get them manufactured in pairs, and the price comes down a little bit. Why would we spend so much money on business cards? This is a very much first impression based business. That's what we say to our wealth engineers. You've got to look professional, behave professionally, speak professionally. When you speak to someone about DuePoint, they've probably never heard of us before. We don't really have brand equity in the market yet. Give us some time. We will be known around the country very soon. But when you speak to someone about DuePoint, there's no credibility. They'll look at the way you dress and whether you're confident about your business proposition or not. But when you put a business card that costs 20,000 Rand into their hands, that's 4 times thicker than their card. It's got no ink on it. It's gilded in gold. You see the edges? That's called gilding in the print industry. Bibles are gilded in gold, right? The logo is embossed in gold. The black paper feels like suede. You give them a business card like that, suddenly your credibility goes up a whole bunch of notches. Suddenly they're giving you a little more time to explain what DuePoint's all about. These are tools to make our wealth engineers as effective as possible. At rank 9, this is one everyone gets excited about because this is not a once-off reward. When you get to rank 9, when our wealth engineers get to rank 9, they get to enjoy 7 days, all expenses paid trip, business class flights for them and their families to a 5-star luxury resort every single year going forward. Take a look at where we're going. This is available for everybody in the room. There's no time limit. You can take as long as you want to get to rank 9. And this is footage of the actual resort we booked at. So picture yourself there. They're the families that have qualified for rank 9 this year. And it looks like we've got another 2 qualifying this month, which will be announced in the next week or so. Which one of you are going to be here? Whose photo is going to be here next? It's available for everybody in this room, right? And you can take as long as you want. There's no deadline to getting to rank 9. One of the gentlemen got to rank 9 in 5 months. He went from 0 to never having heard of DuePoint before to being shown a presentation to getting to rank 9 5 months later. You get to enjoy this every single year with your family going forward. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 on a brand new car and give it to you. That happened in the parking lot. It's not a demo video. That's for real. Go watch the video. The full video is on YouTube. We're serious about getting our wealth engineers to get to debt-free status. We want to see that happen for our wealth engineers. I want you to come shake my hand and go, today's the day I got to debt-free status. I've got no debit orders going off my account. My salary goes in, the returns from DuePoint go in, no SMSs about the debit orders coming off my account. I paid for my kids' education a year up front. I own the house I live in. I drive the car that DuePoint bought me. Maybe you'll have some insurance you've got to pay. But that's where we want to see you. I know it feels so far away in our current circumstances, but we have to make this decision now for 5 years' time, 10 years' time. That's where maturity comes in. We have to stop thinking month to month. I know we're worrying about the end of the month, but we have to take a step out of that and go, I'll worry about the end of the month, but I'm doing this for 5 years' time or 10 years' time. Another benefit for our wealth engineers is this thing we do every month. It's called the Wealth Quest. It's basically a challenge that we issue to the wealth engineers to keep things interesting, I guess. Every month there's a different challenge. This month it's called Build the Right Team for the Dream. And the challenge is add 2 new wealth engineers into your first point and make sure that you don't have any cancellations in your first 3 months. And you've got to help these first 2 people become qualified, which means you need to get them to get 3 people each in their business. If you can do that, if you can achieve this challenge while you're building your channel, you'll have a brand new iPad in your hands before the end of next month. Right? Not for your kids to play with, a tool for business. Okay, so this is something we run once a month, different reward, different challenge. We got to ask the question, well, how does DuePoint afford all these returns and rewards for their wealth engineers? Basically, this explains our business model. Traditional companies like Prime Meridian, one of the other businesses Brendan owns down the road, they engage in a lot of different marketing, right? So they'll do advertising on a daily basis. We know the advertising that PMD does all the time. They spend a fortune on a daily basis on the advertising to get clients. DuePoint doesn't do any advertising. We don't spend a cent on advertising. We depend on our wealth engineers, our partners, to go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity. And so, where the insurance industry spends billions on marketing and advertising, we take that portion of our premium and we pay it to our wealth engineers in the form of these returns and rewards and the wealth quests that you see us do. Okay? Let's talk about the products. So we've got 3 products. You notice that I haven't spoken about the products this entire presentation. This is a business presentation. These are the products you need to consider. We've got 3 of them. You can take out 1, 2, or all 3. They've got very different benefits, and they've got benefits that speak to the issues we have in our lives from a financial point of view, right? So the first product is an investment product. It's called Access Wealth. It is 299 Rand a month, of which 100 Rand will be put into an investment in your name. It goes into a tax-free investment fund that sits with Sanlam. Okay, it's not a notice deposit, it's not a fixed deposit. You can draw that investment out at any time you want. It takes 72 hours to process. You can pull that investment out. But then it wouldn't be a very good investment if you're using it as a savings account. You must leave the money there as long as you can, 20 years ideally. We give you a little bit of insurance with this product, right? So if something happens to you, if you're killed in a car accident and you have this product, we'll pay out your beneficiaries 110,000 Rand, plus whatever's in that investment. This investment takes full advantage of the tax-free legislation in the country, right? So the proceeds you make out of this investment remain tax-free, unlike all the other income we make in our lives. So the contribution actually starts at 100 Rand investment, but you can push that contribution up to 2,500 Rand a month, because tax-free legislation says you can put up to 33,000 Rand a year away into that investment without having to worry about paying tax on the money you make out of the investment. So this is our first product, investment product, Access Wealth. The second product is strictly insurance, right? Insurance is there to protect your assets. When you die, what happens to the family, right? Especially if you're the primary breadwinner. So this is called Wealth Guard. It's 274 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. It is basically accessible to anyone over the age of 18 because this product doesn't profile you from a health risk point of view. So we don't send a nurse to come do blood and urine tests and want to know 40 years of your medical history. We don't profile you from a health risk point of view. So anyone over the age of 18, you can be 80, you can be diabetic, you can still take out this product. You get the same amount of cover for the same premium of $274 a month. So this is the insurance product. Product number 3 is called Wealth Points. This product aims to save us money on the money that we spend every month anyway. So if you join this program called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program, it's 274 Rand a month, and you get to enjoy the discounts that we've negotiated with a list of companies over there. So we've got a lot of retailers there because that's where we spend a lot of our money every month. We've got ShopRite Checkers. You get 2.5% off your entire trolley at ShopRite Checkers. We've got R1 million in saving with the entertainer to restaurants around the country, hotels around the world, luxury spas around the country. Right? They've got an entire list of different facilities there. We've got Eagle Ford. If you do have to buy a car, go through Eagle Ford. The savings there will save you probably 2 years worth of premium on this product. Right? We're always adding new partners to you. We've just added a data partner where we've negotiated data for 1/3 of the price. You can buy a gig for less than 37 Rand with Always On. All through this program. Okay? It's a great product to have because you get immediate benefit out of this product. So if you're feeling the squeeze every month, consider getting the Wealth Points program. It'll start to save you a little bit of money on that money you're spending anyway. So those are the 3 products. You're welcome to come ask me some more questions on the products later if you wish. I remind you of the support that we get at DuePoint. Don't join DuePoint, become a wealth engineer, and think you can do this business on your own. We know how the business works, right? So lean into that support. We will give you all the support that you require. We've invested so much money into the facilities, into the technology to make you guys as effective as possible. Understand, learn what all that technology, what that support is, and use it, leverage it as much as you can. The decision slide. We're finally there, we're nearly there. What is the decision? It should be obvious. I'm hoping the decision in your mind is, or the realization actually is, I can blame the economy for as long as I want. I can blame my employer, the company I work for. I can blame my spouse. I can blame this person, that person. The decision is whether you're going to take the responsibility to now start looking at building an asset. Not to pay your bills, but to build actual wealth in your life. For the first time, the majority of us will never get to the point where we build any wealth in our lives. This is the opportunity. Does it come easy? It doesn't come easy. It is difficult. It requires a lot of time, sacrifice, frustration. Even our most successful wealth engineers still come to my office and say, this business is killing me. People are letting me down. People are doing this. People are doing that. But the point is they keep persisting. They don't give up. And their income grows every month. That's the beauty of this business, right? They're not hoping for an 8% increase annually. They can have a 10, 20, 30, 100% increase in 30 days. That's the beauty of it, where there's absolutely no risk to you, right? We don't sign you into a 12-month contract or a 24-month contract. You're free to come and go as you want in this business. We don't lock you into anything here. We want people that want to do this business, that want to be effective. Those are the people that we want to work with, and you need to decide at the end of this evening whether you want to be one of those people or not. We're not going to run away, so in a year's time you can make the decision. You go, oh, I'm coming back to DuePoint. We have many people like that. The decision is yours. If you want to ask me any questions about the business opportunity, you can speak to me afterwards. Getting started is very easy. You get onto our homepage, go through the application form. It takes you about 10 minutes. You'll be a wealth engineer. You can start building your asset tonight, tomorrow. Get to rank 1 before the end of the week. Right? Let that be your goal. We've got merchandise. This is not a profit center for us. Consider getting business cards. Right? When I spoke to you about those black business cards, it's the same thing. Get business cards. You need to behave professionally in this business. We've got a USB stick. This has got our video collateral on there. Very convenient. If you don't want to use the data, get the USB stick. We've got a host of other merchandise on display in the cabinet. The pricing's on the counter. Wednesday, Women's Day. Are the women looking forward to their holiday? No, because you know you're going to be working on your holiday, right? It is a great opportunity for our wealth engineers. Our public holidays are the busiest days of this business in the year. Why? Because while everyone else is vacationing, taking the day off from their day jobs, people trying to build wealth are there building wealth. They are trying to increase the value of their assets. And Wednesday is an awesome opportunity. And we recognize the fact because we do 2 presentations on that day for our wealth engineers. One at 10 in the morning, one at 12:15. You can come to head office, you can tune into the live stream. The entire country is going to be tuned in. Make sure you increase the size of your asset on Wednesday. It is a great opportunity. We've got a YouTube channel, it's got all our videos on there. Everything, testimonies, interviews, the presentations, all kinds of stuff is on there. If you become a wealth engineer, make sure you download the mobile app. It allows you to see what's happening in your business in real time. The moment anyone in your channel joins, you see your net asset value suddenly go up. Right? More recurring income. Download the app. You can follow your whole business in real time. Guys, we are done. I thank you for your time. I hope your week improves. Always improves from a Monday, right? Make sure that you dedicate some time to Wednesday because it's a great opportunity. If you have any questions, I'm outside to chat to you. Lynn's here to help you with any admin issues you have. Have a wonderful week. Good luck to get to rank 1 by Friday.